And welcome. So in this video, I'm going to do a reading for the full moon in Pisces partial lunar eclipse that is happening tomorrow or Wednesday. So Tuesday or Wednesday this week, depending on where you are. And oh my gosh, I am feeling this energy so much. I wanted to talk a little bit about what this full moon is about, what this eclipse is about, or partial eclipse is about. I'm going to do a card reading as well. I'm going to use various different decks for that. But I'll talk about it first. So, full moon in Pisces. So, full moons as a whole are generally a time for release. Okay, so the moon is at its biggest, brightest in the sky, and it's about coming to this sort of culmination point of like what needs to be let go for the new cycle to emerge. So this is very much full moons, but when it's an eclipse, it's when it's happening where the nodes are. So the nodes of, like, you can call them the nodes of fate. So you've got the north node and the south node. I am personally obsessed with the north and south node. I love looking at these in people's birth charts as well because I think they tell us so much information. I love them. Um, so the north node is really about where we are moving towards in this lifetime, and the south node is what we came into this life with, what we are comfortable with, what is familiar with us. So when you're looking at your own chart, the south node is the area that you feel pretty good, like you feel kind of familiar, but it's not got a lot of growth there necessarily, because from a soul perspective, because that's the bit that you already know, right? That's your kind of comfort zone, if you like. Whereas the north node is the unfamiliar. It's the part that your soul wants you to go towards, but your human self. So I always think of us as having like a soul self and a human self, or an ego. You could think of it as an ego. And the part that wants to keep you alive is not quite as necessarily on board with what the soul wants, which is like to grow into new uncharted territories, right? So the full moon is happening on the north node, where the north node is. So this kind of means that not only is the full moon about letting go anyway, but it's also so that we can move towards what our soul wants us to move towards in soul growth. So this is a particularly powerful full moon. I don't always like think that they're all created equal, right? This one feels to me very powerful. It feels like essentially if you've been doing a great job already of surrendering to what your soul wants you to do, then you may have an easier time with eclipses. So I don't ever want to think of an eclipse as being like good or bad. Like, yes, they can be challenging, but they can also be amazing, because eclipses, all they're really trying to get us to do is move towards what our soul wants. But if we're very resistant to that, that's where the challenges come. So it's really a huge time of surrender, of taking a leap of faith, of trusting our intuition. This is Pisces, okay? So Pisces, and I love Pisces energy, is like the spiritual sign, is all about like our dreams, is all about faith, of spirituality, of dreams. So it's asking us to, like, Pisces is always more interested in what is, I guess I think of it as being very ethereal, of like what your intuition and your feelings are guiding you towards, as opposed to what is logical or what is grounded. It's not so much interested in like being grounded. It's more about like, the kind of unseen realms. So this could be a very, very, well, it will be a very powerful time, but it could either be very challenging if you've been fighting and ignoring your soul's nudges. But if you haven't, then this might be a really amazing time, really kind of like welcomed change that you've been wanting to happen, and that you are surrendering to, and that you are open to. So there is no like one way that everyone will experience an eclipse. It really depends on how you've been leading up to it, honestly. So so this one really feels like it's asking us to surrender to the deeper inner truths, the soul calling, the, like, whether or not it looks logical or good on paper. It's like, what do you really, really want? What is really like calling you on a deep, deep level? And it's a really good time like to go inward and to feel into that and to surrender to what it is that you know somewhere to be true, right? Because if you're anything like me, you do usually know, and sometimes you might be ignoring it for a long time because your human part is like, I don't feel ready, I'm scared, I don't know what I'm doing, it feels too big, I can't handle this. Your nervous system might not have the capacity to hold it. All of this kind of stuff can come up, but there's something in you that does know. It's like it starts like a whisper, right? It's like a little like, ooh, curious, and then it gets louder, and then it gets louder. And that's what eclipses do. They magnify that voice that's already there somewhere. But it's like, if you've not been listening, it can bring, I guess I think of it being like a tower moment in tarot, right? It's like it can bring this sort of like, well, if you're not going to pay attention, then we're going to get rid of the stuff that's not serving you. We're going to get rid of the job. We're going to get rid of the relationship. I don't want to say this to scare you. It's more just like my experience is when I ignore those nudges, the universe starts intervening more loudly. Let's say it's like, no, you're not paying attention, right? Let's come in now. So what it's really asking is, instead of having to have something like catastrophic like happen to you, it's more about surrendering to that voice, to that knowing, and willingly allowing yourself to let these things go. And what I also love about this week is that we're about to go into autumn. It's going to be the equinox on Sunday. So we're going to move into Libra season, and it's going to be the autumn equinox. So we're really going to be starting to shift, and you're feeling that shift already in the energy around going from summer into autumn. And what autumn brings, when you go out in nature and you go out for a walk, so I love going out in nature, like I do it all the time. It's so important. And I feel like especially right now, it's just really important. That when you see a tree and it's, the leaves are falling from the tree isn't grasping onto the leaf, right? The leaves are just falling gracefully. The tree allows this to happen. The tree isn't like, oh, but I need that leaf. And it's like, it recognizes it's dead. It's not like, it has no life anymore. It needs to go. And it gracefully, like, you watch the leaf fall. And I think just seeing this like real life sort of metaphor for how we can also embrace letting go in this really graceful way. And I think if we allow ourselves to do that, we'll have a much easier time. And not only will it be a lot easier, but we'll allow space for the new that wants to emerge. That's really like why this is so important, that we're not holding on to things that are unnecessary. So whether that's old habits, old relationships, old jobs, all of those kinds of things, what can we release and shed with grace, and trust that voice that doesn't necessarily seem logical, that doesn't necessarily seem, I know I'm repeating myself a lot, but this is important. Like, that's important, because like sometimes the human self or the ego self is like, it needs to like all make sense and everything. I need to know what's going to happen. I need to know all the steps and da. Pisces is not concerned with this. Pisces is just like, I just have this knowing. I just know. And I don't know how it's going to work. It's all unknown right now. But I know that's where I need to go. And I'm going to trust it. And I'm going to take the leap of faith. That's what we're really being asked to do. Okay. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pull some tarot cards. I know I'm going to use Alistair Crowley's Thoth Tarot deck. I've talked about the energy, but I'm just going to see what more wants to come from the cards. Okay, so full moon, partial eclipse, Pisces energy, please. Yes, that's one. I'll get a few more out and then I'll show you. Lovely. One more, please. Oops. Ah, yes. Okay, love this. All right, so first of all, the lovers. I honestly don't see this as a relationship card particularly. Some people do. For me, this is more about choice. This is more about values. So yeah, so it feels like, you know, we are going to be asked to reflect on what our values are, what's important to us, making choices. We're going to be confronted. It feels like we're going to be confronted with choice here, and it is about moving more into like that soul calling, like I've been talking about. So choices. We also have the star. The star is all about that leap of faith, about hope, about optimism, about trusting. And I love that this is here because it's just so like if you look at the artwork as well, like she's just like going towards like a sort of, it feels like going towards the north star, the north node, right? Like, and she's just like, I love this card is just so beautiful. There's all these gems at the bottom here, and like she's just like so elegant, and she's just like allowing it to shower her. Like there's really like trusting and having faith in our dreams and believing what is possible, believing that it's possible. I think that's so important right now, that we don't get caught up in this scarcity, that we trust that what we want wants us back. I feel like I say this a lot, but I just think that's so important. um, and then we've got the Nine of... I feel like this has come up in loads of readings recently. The Nine of Cups, happiness. What's really fascinating to me as well is I happen to know that this is a Pisces card. That is the... There it is, the Jupiter glyph there. And the Pisces glyph, it's really hard to see, but it's right there. And sorry, it's a bit blurry. So it's actually a Pisces card as well. Jupiter is optimism, expansion, how we can expand. Pisces, it's all this Pisces energy. I love it. And this card often speaks of like, what we're emotionally fulfilled by. Like we are going to be asked to look. This is also in the center. So making choices, trusting and having hope and optimism to lead us towards our emotional fulfillment. Yes, thank you. Okay, so how to embrace these energies, please. Oops. I saw that, 1 second. Ten of Cups, satiety. I swear this came out in the last reading as well. How fascinating. I love it when that happens. Yeah, so again, Cups speaks of emotional well-being, of our emotional fulfillment. It's all about like leaning into what makes us happy, what we actually want, what makes us feel good. You know, Jupiter is all about feeling good as well. Because I say that because we've got a Jupiter card here. And that just feels significant because it's in Pisces and we are talking about the Pisces full moon. So yeah, so what it is that, you know, fills up our cup, what makes us feel happy, what makes us feel good. So important. What not to do, please. Ugh. There we go. Interesting. So we've got Ace of Wands. So Ace of Wands speaks of like a spark of a new sort of creative endeavor. It feels like with this being in what not to do is to not ignore what you feel passionate about, to not take action. Like as in, let me rephrase that. It's like we are being asked to be bold. Look at how bold this card. I love how like it's a very phallic card. It's a very masculine card. I always think of this card as being very masculine because it's so like directive. It's asking us to be directive, you know? So like to be very courageous, to not like succumb to our fear. That's what it is. We're asked to have courage because courage requires fear, otherwise it's not really courage. So there is something about needing to call upon our courage at this time because it is scary. The unknown to our human self is scary, even though to our soul self is exciting and like expansive and fun. But yeah, like there is a need to focus on what it is that we are actually excited about. I feel like this is so similar to last week's reading. It's absolutely uncanny. Okay, so what is on the other side of this? Lovely. Yeah, another new beginnings. New beginnings. New beginnings. We've got two aces here. This is more in the context of like your creativity and your excitement and your passion and your drive and your motivation. And this is something changing in your physical world, a new beginning in your real world, like physical manifestation of something new. For some of you, it could be money. I'm very attracted to this coin here, like new money coming in, but in a way that actually fulfills you, that you are actually excited to do, that you wake up in the morning and you're like, oh, I'm excited to do that. I want to do that, rather than just like getting through it and pushing through in this like heavy energy. Because you can have what you want, you know, but we have to be relentlessly hopeful and optimistic is what I'm hearing. It's like we have to like believe in our own hype, you know? And yeah, it feels important to say this, like to not like be this sort of modest, like, oh well, I guess I could. It's like, no, like we need this more, this let me like feel into this. It's like waking up in the morning and being like visualizing that what you want wants you, and like you're kind of going into that, like this is already happening, and you're feeling that abundance. Like I feel like there's a lot of abundant energy, because this is like what's on the other side, like abundance. Look at that, it's like such an abundant card. I love it. And it does feel like for some of you it is in the form of money, but it could also just be something like a new job, or just something new in your like your physical world. But you have to be like shameless in your desire for it, because we also have the Ace of Wands. What's also really standing out to me, this is really interesting, this glyph here in the middle, you see, again, I don't know if you could see that very well, that symbol there is Babylon's symbol. I don't know if you can see actually, but on my wall there I'll just slightly turn the camera, that's the same symbol in the middle of this, and I've just noticed that now, and that feels important to say. And there's also 3 coins in the middle of that as well. And like Babylon, like that's something I drew myself, because if you follow me for some time, you know I'm obsessed with Babylon. So and Babylon is all about that shameless desire, about like that lusty, heart-centered, like going after what she wants, and just like completely just open and surrendered to what's happening. Oh, I love these cards so much. Look how colourful, and so good. I'm so excited for this week. It feels powerful. I'm really feeling that shift of like, it feels like there's going to be big changes this week for people. And like I say, if you go into it being like, no, I don't want change, I don't want it, it's going to be a lot harder, you know? Whereas if you go in being like excited and open and like open to possibility, this could be a really fun time, exciting time. So I really, really welcome you to embrace this energy, because on the other side of it, I think it's just going to be abundance and a good time, honestly. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pull some more cards from the Moonology deck, because I like using moon cards when it's a moon reading. So additional guidance, please, for this full moon in Pisces. Oh, so many fell out there. There's one. That is very funny. Oh, there's 2 there. Right. I feel like one winked at me, but it didn't quite come out. See if it comes back out. Oh, they've all jumbled up. It's all right. Right, one more, please. Love this. Okay, so this is the one I was laughing at. Okay, so prosperity lies ahead, right? Money. That, it really feels like money. I don't know. That's the vibe. Yeah, prosperity lies ahead. And then this North Node, step out of your comfort zone. It is not necessarily going to be comfortable. This is important. You know, it's that thing of like, I don't like to be too cliche, but you know, it's like, oh, I'm going to butcher this expression now. But it's something to do with like, you know, the magic happening outside of your comfort zone. You've probably heard this before, right? But it really is true. Now, I do think there is value in comfort as well, and not always pushing yourself and not always like being in that kind of like doomer. But right now, it's like, if you're feeling uncomfortable, good. That's a good. You might want to like make sure that you're regulating your nervous system. If this is really resonating for you and you're feeling like, oh shit, it's coming, you know, like that kind of energy, then spending time in nature, being outside, regulating yourself, breathing deeply, trusting yourself, trusting the universe, trusting your desire, and take those little steps to get out of your comfort zone. Do something different. Do something different. We've also got here, don't let South Node, don't let your past hold you back. I love how, like, honestly, how unbelievably on the nose is this? North Node and South Node and the prosperity, like, just so good. I love it when the cards do that. So yeah, so for some of you, there is a real need to let go of something in the past. I don't know what it is, but you do, right? You know there's something that you're holding on to that feels safe, that feels like known, that feels comfortable. And yes, there is a time and a place for that, but right now, it's not it. It's about not letting your past holding back and stepping out. Being bold, having courage. I know I'm repeating myself a lot, but I just really want to... I wish I could like just channel that message really clearly. Like you... The unknown isn't as like... I don't know. I just feel like when we do often step out into the unknown, but it is actually our soul's path, we're always rewarded for it, you know? Like, I do feel like it works out for us, that we, and like, sometimes it's helpful to think as well, this might be a good practice. I just think it's worth saying. If you are, again, if you're in that energy of, I'm scared to let go and I don't want to, and there's a kind of like clingy sort of energy and you're really struggling to let that go. First of all, my deepest like empathy to you. I'm not judging you for a second for that, because it is so deeply human. It's completely understandable. But if you are feeling that and you want to kind of like help free yourself from that, something that might be really useful is to go into your worst case scenario of like, what if you did do something that was out of your comfort zone? What is it that you're afraid of? And allow yourself to go there. And then in that going there, in your mind's eye, be like, so how could I actually like be grateful for this worst case scenario? Like, let's say, for example, you leave your job or something. Okay, we'll just use an example. You have a job and there's something else calling to you, and it's like you've been offered an opportunity, but you're like, oh, I don't know, because it doesn't really feel certain. I'm not really sure about it. But you then imagine yourself going for that thing that you're scared to go for, and your worst fear is that like it doesn't end up working out, right? Like this thing that your soul is calling you towards, but you're like, but what if it doesn't work out? Okay, so what if it didn't work out? Go there, go into that space, and then be like, so what would I do? Well, I could just go back to what I was doing before, right? That's like your worst case. You know what I mean? It's that kind of thing. I hope that was kind of helpful. Sorry, I know I'm like really like today, but it feels just really important like to just say like your worst case scenario probably isn't as bad as you think. It's probably like not that dangerous. It's just that you've told yourself that story. So when we allow ourselves to really go into the fear and really like imagine the worst case, could you be like, actually, it's not so bad? Or how could I be grateful even in this so-called bad situation that I'm imagining? You know, what if it wasn't so bad? What if like you ended up homeless, but actually you could be on people's couches and live there for a bit and it wouldn't be so bad? Do you know what I mean? Like, again, bit of an out there example. I'm not suggesting that's your worst case scenario, but just allowing yourself to go there is such a powerful exercise to help reduce scarcity. That's really what this practice does, is to go into that worst case, feel the gratitude of that and actually realize, like, do you know what, it wouldn't be so bad, then you are freer. You become freer to then make those risks, to take those chances, to grab those opportunities, to let go of the thing you don't really want to do in it anyway, whether that's, you know, scrolling on your phone too much, or whatever the habit is that you're trying to let go of, that kind of thing, or just the relationship that you know drains you, or the job that you're just like not really fulfilled by, or those kinds of things. It can give you the freedom to be like, yeah, I can actually do that, and I totally can. So that was a lot, I realize, but I hope that was helpful. I hope that inspired you. I hope that transmission like inspired some kind of action, you know, just like, yes, I can do this, because you really can. And I love you so much, and I believe so much in you, and I just, yes. I hope that landed for you. Thank you so much for listening to that, and I'll see you all in the next one. Mwah.